Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Appreciate it as always. Hope you're having a fantastic day. It is game day. Shout out to the 19. I may actually have a jersey. Go check the community page. I put a poll up there. There's some ideas that I finally got around to. I don't know if there's enough interest, for the 19, but we'll see what happens. So I got a chance to put on my if I could do everything for the Fever uh, hat. I got a message from one of you, one of the 19 that I want to read, and then I want to answer it. I want to talk about it. I'm curious what you all think because obviously it seems as if the Fever need some changes. So I got this message from a 19er, a 19er, whatever. I have to vent. Hey, I get that. Let me tell you, Philly fan, I get that. I am so frustrated right now about this roster. Howard looks like an old lady out there with butter sticks for fingers. Yeah, she can't catch, doesn't defend well, and while she scores sometimes, she just isn't a rim defender. Defensive player of the year, my backside. Bonner is MIA for some forsaken reason, and isn't that effective when she's here? Turner isn't any help and I'm not sure her locker room presence is healthy. If this is the best we could do during free agency, I think we were lied to about players lining up to join the Fever. Aside, this is me saying it, or this is exactly what the front office wanted. Just saying. It's possible. It's the WNBA, folks. I would probably never have said this before the WNBA, but it's like conspiracy theorists are real, man. I actually think it was just the opposite. Bonner probably came out of loyalty to Steph and found she couldn't keep up and is trying to bow out. Howard is washed. After all the preseason hoopla, we're about to get really embarrassed. I admit that I'm too involved, but here I am, still obsessed just the same. What are we going to do? First of all, you'd be surprised when you say you're too involved if you look into some of the more passionate fan bases out there. Yeah, there's just trust me, I would not say you're too involved by having these thoughts and asking these questions. And so my first thing, of course, in order to make changes, the first thing I'd do is I'd get the owner to hire me and give me like, you know, carte blanche, blank check, do whatever I want. And then I'd make it clear to the league that we, the Indiana Fever, are the league. Okay. The crap is going to stop, or the Fever are just simply not going to play any more games. How do you like that? Can you imagine that? I think that's the type of thing the WNBA needs to jar it awake into some movement. What would they do? We all saw the ratings when Clark got hurt. Can you imagine the Indiana Fever ownership saying, "Hey, you know what is being done in this league? What are you doing? What you're doing to my team, what you're doing to our star, what you're doing to the face of the league is unacceptable. It is violence and thuggery on a basketball court. All these things for which these players would be arrested if it were happening away from the court. It's not acceptable anymore. We're not going to deal with it. You're going to fix it. Until you do, and you can guarantee that it is fixed, we will not be participating in this league." Okay. I just had to throw that out there because, speaking of venting, that made me feel better. Now let's get to this. Oh, I also said, well, why don't the team should also announce that we're looking into launching a competing league while y'all figure out your CBA with the media people who just realized they vastly overpaid for the rights. Because without Caitlin Clark, there is nothing. Now, about the roster. Let's talk about the roster. I don't really disagree with anything this 19er said. I think there's a lot of truth. It was put together. I think that, oh man, I hate saying it, but it's it's kind of like the Occam's razor thing, right? It's like, okay, well, what would they do differently if they weren't trying to minimize the impact of Caitlin Clark, right? It's like they figured they thought they could put this roster together and it would be talented enough that with Clark, even minimized, she's so good, and then we'd have these players around her that we would still be successful enough. And I'm not sure that they're going to be able to do that. Now, look, obviously, it would be tough to make a whole lot of moves now, make a whole lot of wholesale changes. We kind of got to figure out what what can we tweak? What move or two can we make? And how do we bring this roster together to get the most out of what we have right now? So for me, if I could, I would be going back to, in a way, back to last season in that I would go young and I would go with players who want to run, not necessarily everyone. Um, I mean, I'll give you an example of a player in a minute who's available, who's I want to say 32, 33. So I mean, they're not super young, but they're younger than some of the players that they that we picked up now. But look, even if all I could get was second round picks, I'd get rid of Turner. I'd get rid of Bonner at this point. And if there's some horrible thing going on, you know, I apologize, and I know it sounds terrible, but I have to look at this from the Fever are a team. It is a business, and at some point you have to move on. And at this point, I think just moving on from Bonner is the best thing to do with this team. So Turner would go, Bonner would go, Howard would go, Colston would go. I would try and get rid of all of them if I could. And if that means just cutting unprotected contracts, I don't think Bonner's is protected. I can't remember. Turner's is not. Colson's is not. I can't remember on Howard. Hers might be either. So it might be just we can cut Turner and Colson. I would if Colson, and if we're doing that, right, then I could say I can bring Ari McDonald back, or I could bring Grace Berger back, maybe even Celeste Taylor back in terms of a guard. We know Celeste Taylor can really D up. We also know McDonald, Berger, Taylor, they can all run. Okay, we know that. And I think I said this in none of the videos, so I'll make this quick. But one of the really cool things I like that I saw about Ari McDonald is it kind of helps me with my argument about Grace Berger or, Celeste Taylor, because people will bring up, oh, well, if they were really that good, they'd be in the league. Come on, I think we all know by now there are a lot of good players out there that whether it's just, protecting the veterans or poor scouting or what have you, there are a lot of players out there that are good players and are good enough to be in the league, and they just simply aren't, right? With Ari McDonald, you saw that. Ari McDonald, now she may be coming back to the Fever, and maybe that's why no one else signed her, but no one else has signed her. And even if she said, well, I'm coming back to the Fever, and that is why she was not in the league, which is why the Fever could get her, right? So there are talented players out there that could help absolutely. I would look at again, this is a one season thing, right? So we're like 30, almost a third of the way through the season. As crazy as this might sound to some people, but with everything I've seen with the league, I would consider signing Sedona Prince from TCU. I know a lot of people talked about her off the court issues, and then they saw like in the tournament that she's too slow and all this, but she's a solid player. She's a big. We don't even have a backup center, right? We're not that big. She's a big. She's physical. She could be an enforcer type in there. She could give you the type of minutes and enforcement from a defensive standpoint that we were all told we would get from Brianna Turner that we did not get. Right? She's got that size and that roughness in the middle. I would play Michaela Timpson, and I know a lot of people will say, "Well, you don't know what's going on in practice. She might not look that good and this, that." I saw Michaela Timpson in college. I know what I'm not saying it's guaranteed she's going to be a great player, but I know what she offers and what the Fever are missing. She offers an athleticism. She offers a defensive presence. She is long. She will get out and run, which we'll get to in a minute because we don't have any of that. I also know that Stephanie White doesn't like to play rookies. And I also know that for probably the first time in a long time, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure there's some and I'm just not thinking of them. But traditionally, rookies don't get a lot of time. But we're seeing this year rookies that are getting a lot of time and getting chances, and they're being effective for their team, and they're having good seasons. And it's not just Sonia Absolute Citron, and Kiki Ariafin, however you want to say it. I like Ariafin. It sounds better. Most people say Ariafin. But anyway, I mean, one of them's probably going to be Rookie of the Year. It'll be close. I just want to get the page people upset, but I think those are the top three that it's going to come down to those. So Kiki and Sonia might split the statistics, and then Paige will get it. But rookies can have an impact, so we have to see what Michaela Timpson can bring us. I absolutely believe that she can bring us far more than what we've gotten from Brianna Turner. Okay. The offense, I mean, obviously, I would change the offense around, and we would run a whole lot more than they're running. We would play up tempo. We'd run every chance we'd get. We'd press full court sometimes. We'd play the read and react. The ball would be in Caitlin Clark's hands. We'd run the pick and roll with AB. And by the way, we would also set heck of a lot better picks, because that would be unacceptable for what is happening right now with the way this team sets picks and the way they like to slip them to get the ball and on and on. That would change. We would run teams off the court. And does that mean at times we would struggle? Yeah, that's okay though, because that's going to be what gives us the best chance of winning. We're taking 80 shots a game minimum with this team, not 65, not 70, not 58, 80 minimum. And I don't care if other teams retreat right away to take away the fast break. Because one, that means they're not getting offensive rebounds, and we've just eliminated the second chance points that we give up, but we're too damn good anyway, and we'll still continue to run. We'll throw it down the throat. We maybe get into the offensive end and run some half court stuff, but we're going to get there very, very quickly, which is constantly putting pressure on the other team and putting pressure on their defense and putting pressure on their ability to make sure that they have the right matchups they want, because we're not going to give them a chance to figure it out. We're going to run, run, run. And look, I mean, that's kind of all off the top of my head in terms of this, because we absolutely, I mean, this is just a real short clip, but let me ask them, have you seen any of this year? Have you ever seen this year? Let me ask you. All right. Boom, made three, right? So they're back. Boom, one dribble. And yeah, perfect pass as per usual. That was with Iowa. Have you seen that with the Indiana Fever this year? Have you seen anyone get out like that on a made bucket, which they were also doing last year, run like that and get down the court? No, no, absolutely not. One thing I want to move to real quick before we go on, if I have it here somewhere, I just got to find it. Um, yeah, this person's available. Emma's available. Emma Messman's available. I believe she's a free agent, solid player. She's been in the W, hasn't been in the W since 22-23, where she played for the Chicago Sky. She's the center, which we don't have other than AB. She's a solid player. She's a double digit scorer. She's a good shooter. She gets rebounding. She can defend. And we haven't had that. And I wanted to mention that before I showed that play. But now back to that. I want to talk a little bit about the whole pace of play and this team. There's zero pace with this team, which is why I wanted to show you that, because think back to the games you've watched. Have you seen a play like that with the Indiana Fever this year? Ever? You've seen it last year, but you haven't seen it this year. And I know a lot, we get people who love to dig in and pull up these ridiculous advanced stats, say, oh no, they're running more this year. And, Caitlin Clark has the ball more this year. Well, I watched the games. I have eyes. I have experience with the game. And I say there is no pace. We're talking about pace. This has to do with the amount of possessions that you have in the game, how fast your shots are going up, right? In the shot clock. I talked about that before, and how last year so many shots were going up in the first 8 to 10 seconds of the shot clock. Even more so, at least where it's still double digits, right? So at least 10 or more seconds left in. Indiana Fever did that a lot. This year they don't. Pay attention how little they actually run, how often the ball is walked up the court, or even how often Caitlin starts to run. She wants to run, but no one else is running. No one else is getting out ahead of her. And to me, I think that's instructions from Stephanie White. And I don't think people, for whatever reason, are a little more reluctant to ignore Stephanie White than they were Christy Sides last year, which is a shame. I think that respect has to be notched, dialed back a bit, because I haven't seen Stephanie White do anything to earn it. But so that's it. That's all I got. I would get rid of those dead weight players, and I'd be going signing free agents, and I'd go young and fast, and I would run and see if we can save this season. Because look, it's going to be completely different next year with the CBA anyway. So we're just looking at what can we do this season, and it might not work, right? We could get these young fast players, and it could be a complete disaster. But I don't think it's all that great right now. So smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts on all this in the comments below as well. Really do appreciate it. Go have the day you deserve. And I will talk to you later.